So talk to us about modality, Jamie, because something that we may not necessarily think or talk about all that much, but something you place a huge importance on leading up
Yeah.
to getting to the pricing point and also the sales process. So talk to us about that.
And I think this is one of the most critical points is we tested. We sent out proposals via email. So what this is all about is the way that humans communicate. Humans have been around a long time, let's face it, and we're social beings. And here's just one study that, a UCLA professor found that 55% of our communication is body language and 38% is the tone of our voice. And, 7% is just like the words we say. So over the years, and even some of the sort of accounts I'd mentored, where the accountants had sent the proposal on an email and it was a new client, then their chances of converting that client were so limited, it was ridiculous. And we tested this, and what we found is every time we stepped away from this process, it reduced our ability to convert the client. And the reason is because of the facts, is the research. 55%, 38% is body language and tone of your voice. Now, if you think about that when you've got a new client, what are you trying to do? You're trying to build rapport. You're trying to build trust, Brenton. But if you're just going to meet someone and send an email with a price, it's no good. It just doesn't maximize your success in trying to bring on board that client and build the trust and build the rapport. So the modality, as human beings, is get in their face. Best face-to-face, second a Zoom call, thirdly a phone call, and fourthly maybe an email. So that modality, we found and tested it, and whenever we stepped away from this, we always limited our chances of converting.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the most important points, and I'd like to touch on it when we get to how you got your team on board with the upfront pricing strategy, because I think often we use our email as our security blanket, especially when it comes to sales, because we don't like being considered or positioned as a salesperson. But I think that sets a really good scene for this discussion around pricing and upfront pricing. 100% right. I mean, we need to have our ducks in line, as you say, to get to a point where the client's in a position to accept the proposal for upfront pricing, because it does need some priming and some foundation set to get to that point. So let's talk about, if we can, some of the benefits of the upfront pricing, fixed pricing model. You obviously did quite a bit of research and analysis and looking at the market, listening to different coaches and different people on the topic. What made you guys decide to, one, do it? And then what are the benefits you've seen from doing it?
Yeah, look, over the years, the pain points, and everyone will know this, is I hated debtors. I simply hated debtors.
What?
And, we won't say why, but yeah, look, I hated debtors, and the benefits to receiving an upfront payment or a fixed monthly fee are simply massive. I mean, you reduce your debtors to nothing. Often you'll go into negative WIP, depending on the timing. So the benefits is whenever you're going to the bank for finance and talking about key performance indicators, we always talk about lockup. What's your lockup? It's your debtors and WIP. And if you move your firm to upfront pricing or fixed fee pricing, then lockup is absolutely minimized and your cash flow is fantastic. Think about when you pay all your staff. When do you pay your rent? When do you pay your team? It's all cyclical. But if you don't have this type of model, then it can be more ad hoc. Whereas with upfront or fixed front pricing and it's all scheduled, then it can really run like a finely tuned machine in business in terms of cash flow.
I find that's a really interesting point, actually. Cash flow point's obviously the obvious benefit of it, reducing debtors and WIP, but made mention there of going in and getting finance for, say, your growth plan, which you guys are obviously heavily involved in, looking at acquisitions and different things like that. So having implemented this strategy over the last couple of years has actually, in hindsight, now benefited you when you go to the bank and ask for money to buy the next firm.
The other point there, Brenton, is too with your clients. Ed mentioned earlier about managing the client's expectations. Now, if none of us like a surprise. Ed said that. Now, if you price everything up front or have a fixed fee and you have the ability to do that, I remember when we started doing it, the complaints that we had about our fees basically went to nil because clients knew what the price was going to be. It was a fixed price or it was an upfront price. The ability to manage the client's expectations is critical to onboarding the client and keeping the client for the long term as well, because it's all about, as Ed said, managing the client's expectations.
There is a thing here that psychologically most people prefer to ask for forgiveness rather than ask for permission. And what I mean by that is that it's really hard to have the discussion up front, or have the argument, if you like, up front, and to ask for permission up front. Most people prefer to not do that and then ask for forgiveness when the proverbial hits the fan. And if you're going to do this upfront pricing, you've got to get over that, because it is also about filtering out the bad people. Because at the end of the day, if you ask them, if you price it up front, you separate the people who know that they've got to pay you. They've got this mindset of, I'm going to pay you when I finish, versus if the person's got this mindset of, I'm going to just drag you out as long as I can, 6 or 7, or I may not even want to pay you, but I'm just going to be, tricky and dishonest but just make use of you, then it's better to have that fight up front. And that filters out all the, the bad ones from the good ones. And that comes to their intent. So it just also highlights what their intent is, because at the end of the day, they've got to pay for it. Are they prepared to? And often the debt collection strategies, and often you would have had this from tradesmen who say, are you paying that in cash or on credit or by check? So they ask that question of you up front, but what they're really doing is setting up expectations, managing your expectation, and preparing and positioning the fact that you expect to get paid. So this all comes down to all of that. It's debt collection is right up front.
Absolutely.